Come on, Jamie. And Jamie.
When you're ready.
Hi, I'm Lizzy Painter, and I'm here to propose Alex Broad for the position of VP Discipline. I met Alex about a year and a half ago when we both came to Hatfield as freshers. From day one, she's been a great friend, a reliable team member, and one of the most enthusiastic members of college I've ever come across, which I think we all know is really saying something. Since Alex and I met, she's demonstrated all of the characteristics which will make her undoubtedly an excellent VP Discipline. As the first ever female keeper of the cane, not only is Alex a very vocal member of college, she is clearly not afraid to challenge and reinvent conventional traditions, meaning she will approach her role as VP Discipline with a fresh perspective and lead the college in new directions, whilst upholding the traditions she loves. Through being keeper of the cane, Alex has also shown her authority, sure to silence even the most rowdy post-formal crowd, something which will stand her in good stead when patrolling the aisles at formal. This year, I've had the pleasure of working with Alex on the King Jeff exec. She has proved herself to be an outstanding team player, being diplomatic, supportive, organised and efficient. She's had the daunting task of organising the first ever Kinky Jeff reunion, which has involved working with college officers, communicating with all 50 members of the band, past and present, arranging a highly anticipated weekend of celebrations. This is no mean feat, but Alex has truly made it look easy, using skills which will stand her in good stead as VP Discipline. As an open day rep, enthusiastic member of both HWRFC and HCBC, Alex is fully involved in college activities. She is demonstrating again here her teamwork, reliability and enthusiasm. As a well-known and well-liked member of college, Alex will be an approachable and fair VP Discipline, whether in managing the bar and gym, or representing us in disciplinaries, or even handing out sconces. In short, as an authoritative, organised, supportive, and above all fair individual, I can think of no one more suitable to the role of VP Discipline than Alex Broad.
Without tripping over, so that's always a start. Hi, my name's Will, and I'm proposing Cordelia for VP Discipline. As I'm sure you're all aware, I know both these girls quite well, but in very different ways. Without a shadow of doubt, there's one major reason that Cordelia is the perfect VP Discipline. She's so short, nobody's going to get sconces to form because she won't be able to see. Unless perhaps they get her a high chair. There are so many reasons that I believe Cordelia will make a fantastic VP Discipline. The role no doubt requires impeccable time management, especially with having to defend the Hatfield Football Club all the time. Cordelia manages to balance a hectic social calendar with a theology degree that requires a ridiculous amount of work. Sophie regularly informs me that Cordelia is the only one in seminars who's managed the 300-page reading and to have gone out the night before. Her time management is not a newly found skill. At school, she was editor of the school newspaper as well as helping to run an after-school social club for the younger children. Her enthusiasm for writing hasn't swayed since joining Hatfield, having written for the Durham Tab. However, her involvement is not always purely academic. Cordelia is a key member of Hatfield Women's Rugby, she's captain of the Croquet Club, and also social sec for DU skateboarding. Wait for it. She was also au pair to the Spanish royal family, and that isn't actually a joke. She has plans to work not only to improve the gym, but also to work with other non-sporting clubs within college to ensure that everyone has access to ample facilities. Her ideas for the bar are once again realistic and pragmatic. No ideas of outlandish upgrades, but maintaining its essential hub for college. More signed memorabilia and college decorations, whilst working closely and efficiently with the bar steward to ensure the bar remains a sanctuary for Hatfield revellers. Court is particularly keen to get together with the social sex to ensure that more socials are based in the bar to take advantage of what can only be described as one of our best assets. As many of you are aware, my disciplinary track record at school and at university has not been impeccable. If you don't believe me, ask the castle wardens. Cordelia is well aware of the responsibility of the disciplinary side of the role of VP Dis. Without a shadow of a doubt, I'm sure that Cordelia will take her responsibilities seriously and act as fairly as possible to ensure that all disputes come to a fair outcome. I'm sure there'll be a time in the future where she'll be vouching for me. A pragmatic, funny and all-round top lass. In a nutshell, great chat, great bird.
Okay, my first question, which we'll start with Cordelia, is what is your understanding of the Vice President discipline's role during formals?
Well, can everyone hear me? Everyone knows that during formals, it's the Vice President's discipline's roles to kind of keep order, a level of order during formal. There are a number of rules which have to be upheld, and I hope you won't hate me if I come around and sconce you, but I have to, and that order needs to be kept, or I wouldn't have any authority. I think it's important that we publicise the rules for formal a bit more, because no one actually exactly knows the rules or exactly what the sconces should be, and in that way I think it would be good, because then I wouldn't be questioned. And yeah, I think any behaviour that could bring the college into disrepute needs to be punished, and that's just the way it is.
I think the VP discipline's role in formal has sort of twofold to it. The discipline side of things, so obviously if things get a bit rowdy, people leave, there's the disciplinary side to it, it's the less desirable one. Sconces, I think they're important, because formal at the end of the day, it is a formal event. Might not seem so sometimes, but it is, so I think it's important that the standard of behaviour is kept up to a T. There's also the side of the exec as a whole, so getting to know the freshers, inviting them as guests, and interacting with them. I think that's also a very important role, because as the exec of the college, you need to get to know as many people as possible, and all of the freshers will be new, so I think it's important to have different freshers as guests of the exec every week.
What skills do you see in yourself that you see as crucial to the role of Vice President discipline, and why?
I think first up, the most important role of the VP discipline is they need to be fair. They need to know that everybody needs to know that they all stand on a level playing field. Nobody is exempt from anything. They need to be able to juggle quite a lot of things at once. There's a lot of unknown things, I think, that the VP discipline has to do. So there's the discipline side of things, there's also the VP side of things. They are two quite different things. So there's lots of committees that that VP Dis sits on, and you need to be able to manage your time fairly and well. Also, I don't fail your degree while doing this job, would be quite important. I think you need to be a team player, because obviously you're in the exec, you're officially quite high up in the hierarchy of the exec, so you need to be able to lead things as well as being a team player to be able to integrate with everybody in the exec and not cause any issues.
I think it's really important that as VP Dis that you're friendly and approachable and trustworthy, because if I'm going to defend you in disciplinary, you really need to trust me. I also think it's really important that obviously you have a level of authority, and I'm not afraid to say what I think, and when I have to be scary, I can be, I promise you. I think it's also obviously it's really important to be fair during formals. You can't be sconcing people, you can't not be sconcing your friends. You've got to sconce anybody who does anything wrong. And yeah, I just think being approachable, being a team player, like Alex said, using your own initiative, because I'm not going to confine myself just to what the standing order say about what I have to do as part of the exec and as VP. I've got to do anything I can to maintain the smooth running of college.
If you were given £10,000 by a generous Hatfield alumni on the condition that it was invested into the college, what would you spend it on?
Well, the gym, basically. Will outline some of my ideas, and I think firstly, it's not ideal that we pay our levies for the gym and then a lot of people go to Freeman's Key anyway. I think there are a lot of ideas I have. I think it needs a redecoration because it looks like a prison. I think the waist gym, lots of the equipment needs replacing, the boys tell me. The cardio gym needs a new iPod dock, and air conditioning would be ideal too. I just think it basically just needs a completely new overhaul, and I think it would really help because it would get livers out back into college using the gym. I just think it's a really great place, and it's really great if people use it more. I think the bar too. I think the bar's great as it is, and I think people are thinking about refurbishing it. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I'd really push for that. As it is, it's great, but I have a few ideas. I think there's a lot of alumni stuff on the walls, which is what we need, but I think there needs to be more current student stuff because I think the pictures opposite the bar have only been up for 3 years, so it needs a bit more updating.
think £10,000 is a great amount of money, can go quite far. I would agree that it's bad that we have a gym that we pay levies for, and a lot of people do go to Freeman's. So I think the gym is a quite key area that I would like to invest the money in. I think another important area is the steps down to the boathouse. I know HCBC is quite a big society, and at the moment the steps down aren't lit, and if you're rowing at 6:30 in the morning, which is thankfully something I haven't had to do yet, it's a bit of a death trap really. So I think that'd be a great investment of money. I would section a small amount of it to go to the bar, but obviously next year they are ripping down Jevons, so there's not much point putting too much into it because that would go with it. So I think the gym is the key area, but also investing it in social areas as well. So B stairs common room, the murals are finally finished. I think A stairs common room would be a great place to use it, as well as the PG common room, because people don't like that apparently.
As part of your role, you head different teams of reps. What role do you see reps playing if you get the position?
So some of the roles that some of the reps that you are head of involve tech reps and DUA reps and DUAU reps even, and the gym reps. I think tech reps, I don't know much about tech, and I think obviously they play a really key role in college life. I think the gym reps are very good for knowing exactly what's going on in the gym. I can't say I use the gym regularly, and so it'll be useful to have people there who can help you and let you know what's going on. And I think they're very useful just to let you know, keep you informed as to what's going on in college. You can't be everywhere all the time, but they're useful to help really.
I think the role of the reps is invaluable, and Alex outlined whereabouts we need them. But I think it's really important to keep tabs on what's going on in the different areas, and obviously ultimately they're my responsibility. But it's really great to have people who know about that kind of area, because again, I'm not the biggest, don't know that very much about the technical side of stuff, so it'll be really helpful for me. And I think that choosing the right people would be really, really great, because it could really make things so much easier, and they're just really an integral part of the way that the Hatfield runs.
My last question is, as Vice President Discipline, you're responsible for large amounts of tech around college. How do you feel you can cope with this responsibility?
I think I've answered that question. I think the way I'm going to deal with that part of responsibility, I realise it's a big part of the role, would be finding people who understand it. But also just doing my best to kind of maintain it as it is. I think it works well as it is, but yeah, like I said, it's not my field of expertise, but I will work my hardest to make sure it all runs smoothly.
I know one of the issues we have with tech is that there's a lot of stuff owned by the JCR, and there's also a lot of stuff owned by Kinky Jeff. As a member of Kinky Jeff, I know it can be quite frustrating when some of our stuff goes missing. So I think the fact that I know if I was VC Dis, I would be in charge of both. It'd be very useful. I think tech is very important. Similarly, I don't know a lot about it. I would go away and do my homework and try and sort up. I think getting good tech reps who know exactly what they're doing, who can be patient with me, is very important. And just making sure that everybody knows where tech is, which bit goes in where, and where it's all stored, so that things... Oh, guys. And so that everybody knows that where it's stored, so it can be stored safely.
Vice President. VPD doesn't have a budget. What problems can you see this causing, and how do you overcome them?
Did you get that?
VPD, as VPD, you don't have your own budget. What problems do you see this causing, and how do you overcome them? Would you overcome them?
It doesn't have its own budget. However, there are several budgets that you could tap into. I believe there's a gym development fund, therefore you could use that to improve the gym. obviously it'd be great if you could have a budget because you could, have great ideas. I think using the Hatfield Trust is one way you could overcome any budget issues. And I think that having realistic ideas of what money you have and what you can spend it on is just the key to this.
The VP Dis obviously currently doesn't have a budget, but I think there are probably several valid reasons for this. Personally, I don't think they should have a budget, even though I've got plenty of ideas and I know there are limited funds. I think the changes that need to be made in college are so changeable that you can't really budget for it. And I think it would be an issue that you have to approach people like the treasurer and the master every time you want to make changes. But either way, I think it would work just fine.
You're going to have to leave.
Do you think it's fair that levies paid by everyone fund the gym, which is used by a relatively small number of people?
I think it would be fair if the gym was in a better condition. So I think if it was the standard that it should be, I think people would use it and then they wouldn't have any issues with having to pay that levy. But I think now so many people feel they have to pay for the gym and then go elsewhere, and I think right now that doesn't work very well at all.
I personally do think it's fair. I think you pay for everything in college in one lump sum. You pay it at the beginning of freshers' year, and that's the one-off. And so even if you live back in third and fourth year, even if you don't, you have access to everything. I think the gym is there if you want to use it. It's your decision not to. And I think that having an optional fund for the gym could lead to difficulties, because if people opted out and then you'd have to maintain who had paid for it and who hadn't, I think it would just lead to admin issues. And I think it's just easier and simpler and fairer for everybody that you do pay for it at the beginning.
Okay, so obviously, even though we call her senior man, your role's called Vice President, Discipline. How do you see yourself in terms of a supporting role for the senior man, and also potentially as one of the more senior members of the exec?
I think the senior man does an incredible job. They have a lot on, even more behind the scenes than it looks. And I think being part of the exec as a whole is very important to support each other. People will have bad weeks when they have far too much on their plate to be able to do what they need to do, and I think sharing out responsibilities where possible is very key. I think being one of the senior members of the exec, you do have to show leadership skills, but you also have to be fair and approachable and know exactly what's going on with everybody to ensure that the exec as a whole can run well.
VP Discipline has to assume the role of senior man when they're absent, so obviously it's a very close working relationship, and I would consider that I would be kind of the right-hand woman to the senior man. But I think, like Alex was saying, team skills are really important because you've got to work within the exec as a whole, not only as VP, and as I was saying earlier, a VP has their own responsibilities, but I think your own initiative has to teach you that you can't just stop there. You've got to do whatever you can to help each member of the exec, and especially when it comes to helping the senior man when they have such a big workload.
Because neither of you, can you hear me in the back, by the way? I can't reach the mic over there. Because neither of you have touched up on it yet, I was just curious to know, how important do you think it is to invest in developments in places like the reading room or the library? And if you do think it's necessary, how would you go about making those changes?
From my own experience, I love the reading room. The library I don't use so much. I think it's a really good resource. I think it's adequate as it is, but I think it potentially needs more books. Basically, it needs the essential ones that we each need for our courses, and I think potentially more it needs to be publicised more so people know they can use it and the hours that it's open.
I agree. I think the reading room and the library are great resources. I think they are underused. I think you do need to publicise them more. So we've just got a new librarian who sent us all an email, So we now know when the library's open. I think you would need to instill it upon the freshers especially, exactly what the library can be used for. So if they don't have the books in that you require, you can request that they order them in. I think that's quite important that they do know that. The reading room, there's not much you can do with it. Obviously it's frustrating that it's next to the gym, and when all the like pumping music's going, it can be quite difficult to concentrate in there. That is slightly unfortunate. I'm not sure much can be done about that. I mean, obviously soundproofing the reading room would be ideal, but I'm not convinced that that is a viable option at the moment. But I think more publicity is key to this.
The JCR is very often called upon to maintain and improve the bar by providing funds. Do you think this is fair, given that people outside the JCR, such as MCR members, benefit?
I think money for the bar has to come from somewhere. We are a large part of college. I don't think we should be the sole monetary fund for it. I mean, everybody uses it. People from outside of colleges enjoy the bar as well, and they don't necessarily they don't pay anything other than for drinks. I think getting the MCR more involved and using them as a resource is important, but I don't think the JCR should completely negate using any of their money for the bar.
I personally think it's fair that we might have to fund the bar because we all use it so much. It's such like a central hub for us all, and if it takes a little bit of money from the JCR to like maintain that, then it's not the end of the world, just because it's such an important asset to the college. We all use it all the time. It's used for socials. It's just such a great part of college life that I think it's worth paying for.
Do we have any questions from the floor?
Great, okay. We'll have the closing speeches now. Sorry, which one of you just spoke? Okay, Alex, you want to just go? Yeah, can do these.
Okay. I haven't quite managed to finish going over all of my ideas yet, so bear with me just a little bit longer. In terms of the bar and the gym and the common rooms, I really want to liaise more with the social set and the sports and society's social secretaries to make sure they're maximise the potential where they use as much as possible and make the most of. Another essential thing is we need water fountains in the gym. I think I forgot that bit. But now this is actually my closing bit. Hang on. I think you'll know me and trust me enough to trust that I'll defend you in a disciplinary. Know me well enough that I won't be condescending when I have to unfortunately sconce you. And on a more personal note, I feel like I owe so much to the place because I've developed so much as a character since I've been here, and I really want you to know that I will try my best to do the best job I possibly can, and that all I really want is to reflect your suggestions, your ideas, and to make Hatfield the best it can be.
I won't speak very long. I think a lot of what I want to say is on my manifesto. I would just like to reiterate that I have thought long and hard about taking on this position. It's obviously quite a big role, and I've sat down with my mentor and we've discussed some of the things that are on my manifesto. So putting lights down at the boathouse, that's not something I've just sort of written down because most people write that one down every year. I think I had to come up with ways that we could find the funds to get that, and I would love to be the person who finally got the lights down there, because I think that's a really key issue. I would just like to say that I'd absolutely adore to be VP Dis. I love this college more than life itself. I think, sad but true. I think that it means the world to me. I'm living in next year, so I would be a face around college. I would have the time to dedicate myself to be VP Dis. Don't have to deal with all of the living out issues. And I would just, yeah, I'd be honoured to be your VP Dis. Thank you.
Thank you very much, thank you.